Yo, what up? What up? It's Gabe Patterson. I'm here. I'm able to connect with these brothers. We're here with the Keep Records family. That is Syntax Vernac and Chief DVB, all the
Yes,
way from
sir.
Las Vegas, but they're not in Las Vegas right now. And I got the merch here, so you know what it is. This
Yeah,
is
baby.
vinyl on tape. Even though vinyl is back in a major way, these brothers are pushing the cassettes back in a
Yeah.
major way. So again, we got Chiefy, we got my man Vernac, and first off, welcome guys, and where are you at right now? Give me the lowdown.
Right now we're in Budapest, Hungary,
Dope.
and this is the third and last stop on the tour, which we started in Copenhagen, Denmark. Then we hit Amsterdam. Now we're in Budapest. Um, I uh, I do catch myself wanting to say Budapest, which is like the
Mm.
local way. And
Okay, okay.
anyone who's seen that what is that uh what was that Scarlett Johansson uh
Black Widow.
Black Widow movie? There's a little
Okay.
section in there where she gets into it with one of the characters about how to pronounce it right. So you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Right.
now I feel like I need to be the guy that says that too. But yeah, we're
Because
out
you
here.
travel, you're well traveled, and that those are the kind of things that only people would know if you're out there in the streets,
Exactly.
talking with the people, and then you realize how Americanized we are in our vernacular and our language.
Sure.
So
Funny
that's
enough.
lovely. Um,
That's,
so
yeah.
Copenhagen, Budapest, or
There you
Budapest,
go. Yeah. Yeah.
and what was the other
Yeah.
one?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Oh, can't forget about Amsterdam. That's the livest one right there. I know you guys are
Oh
getting down
man.
in Amsterdam.
That place was a trip, man. It's one of the few places on earth that I could say exceeded my expectations.
Dope,
That,
dope.
Yeah, it was definitely cooler than I imagined for sure. Even though
Yeah,
I already thought it was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
right.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So I was checking your Instagram, Chief, um, and riding on the train, seeing everything, the food vendors on. I saw you guys were getting down on like that waffle type thing that looks good because I watch the Tour de France every year, every July, and they
It's
do
big out
those,
there.
but not the big ones, but the small scale ones. They use
Right,
those
right.
as a snack while they're riding. How is that? What is it pronounced? What is it called? And just tell me about the food and the street vendors and whatnot.
So basically that one in particular was called a Stroop waffle.
Okay.
So like the lady took a little like whatever, the batter that it was, she pressed it up into like this hot like waffle maker.
Man.
But it's super thin, so she cuts it and she fills it with like either caramel or chocolate or
Oh
you know,
man.
and oh man, you bite into that shit and it's warm and oof.
Oh yeah, when it's fresh off the press like that, like they had them in the stores, like where you could buy them pre-packaged, where they're just like room temperature or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, we might have spoiled ourselves by having the fresh made one, because how can you go have like a pre-packaged one that's been sitting on the shelf for weeks when we just had one like fresh off the press, you know? But
Right.
that thing it was as good as it looked and better.
And
Crazy
it's
good.
that contrast. It looked like it was an overcast day. Probably, the degrees were low. They need to
Oh
get
yeah.
that with the, like you said, hot off the grill, and
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's that first bite. That first bite feeling.
Oh,
that's a
Um,
exactly right.
good little combo
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Well, good looking on the Instagram. How is the response on the shows? I saw you guys on stage rocking. How was the
Incredible.
response overall? This isn't your first time uh in the overseas, right? Or in UK, even though it might have been different cities you guys were at before.
Right. I mean, we've done like we've done international, if you will,
Right.
but never. This is the first time we've done like a so indie in Europe. Like we've done Australia, we've done a bunch of different states, like
Hmm.
Florida, Colorado, of course, California,
Absolutely.
Vegas. Um, so this time it was like we didn't quite know what to expect. So when we showed up, it was one of those interesting scenarios where we showed up like as they were setting up the equipment. There was like 4 people in the building. So we didn't have too much to expect, right?
Right.
So we go for a walk and grab a coffee, come back. It's still just kind of lukewarm, maybe 25, 30 people. And the venue only holds like, let's say 120, 150 people. So it was a small venue. And by the time we got off stage, there was a solid 110 people in the building, man. It was like jamming and
That's
everyone
incredible.
was making noise. The reaction was, and this isn't to like, like inflate our experience to you, like it
Yeah,
truly was one of those like, oh shit, it went from being a nothing show to being the highlight of the trip. It's
that's
wild.
I think
beautiful.
people were surprised too, because me and Syntax just walk in and like I feel like you wouldn't like imagine that, maybe we would do that, just like start spitting some crazy raps. And yeah, it was great. I feel like the venue was cool because it was like in the canal, it was like under the street.
Mm.
It was like just a crazy combo of things. But yeah, people were loving it.
Yeah, I think that element of
Underground, man,
surprise.
that's underground right there, you know.
Exactly. No, yeah, by every definition, that it was definitely an underground show. And I think that element of surprise was working in our favor. So
So,
yeah.
well, I know they love real hip hop overseas, and I know that's
Mhm.
what you guys bring to the people. And there's a lot of negative connotations on social media, but the good thing is word of mouth. Like you said, 4 people, then 25, and then 100.
Yeah,
Spreading the news like you got to be here now, get here.
exactly.
I'm sure the vibe was live. Um, I saw you guys were hitting a couple record shops while you're at it, because I know even when you're in the States, it's the two-part action. You got the concert, and then you got where people can purchase the music and the
Yeah.
physical product. How has that response been? I saw a photo of an ill record shop you guys were in, but
Yo,
how's
Oh
that
yeah.
going over with meeting the record shop owners and whatnot?
it's the first place we went to a place called Records in Copenhagen, which is like a super hip hop shop. Like imagine if Fat Beats had a location in Copenhagen, like this would be that. You know what I
Nice,
mean? Like very hip hop. You walk in there and I don't even know if they carry other genres to be honest.
nice,
But they didn't know we were coming, so it was more of a thing where like that was us breaking bread with them for the first time. But
nice.
when we got to Amsterdam, it was just a full on like, here we are to fulfill an order. Like, here's a box of vinyl, let's do this. And the big surprise was like, we sent an invoice doing it like, like the label way, if you will,
Right,
trying
right,
to be
right.
professional on paper. And the
Hmm.
guy's like, hey, you want to just do cash? He's like, so that, like PayPal and whoever the fuck you're sending through
Just
doesn't
doesn't even
just
have to
doesn't take
take
their
the
cut.
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want to just save on commissions, I'll just pay you right now in cash, and just open the register and pull euros out. Hands us this currency we never seen before. We're like, oh yeah, yeah, that works. Like,
And then not even that. It like we have the box and he's like, "Oh, how many do you have?" And we're like, "Oh, we got like however many in the box." He's like, "Yeah, I'll take them all."
yeah,
So it's like,
Damn.
"Oh shit, like even a hit like that."
yeah, you cleaned us out.
So, and that place is actually like pretty well known right now, and like
Mhm.
I think like Alchemist and Rock Marciano, a lot of people have just been hitting that type of like that shop in particular.
Right.
Nice.
So it's kind of getting that like notable shout out to Platypus. That's the
Definitely. Platypus Records in Amsterdam. That place, I mean, is like the living, breathing heart of vinyl in what was happened to be like the dead center of the city, man. Like I thought it was
Mm.
gonna be out in the cut, but that place was like pink, just like right in the shit, man. It was awesome.
That's a heck of an analogy, man, because you think about the record being in the middle and everything spins around it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
there you go.
and like the Lauryn Hill video back in the day, that's
Oh man.
um,
Yes.
this guy's
but
barring out.
kudos to
Right.
you for keeping you cool, because a lot of times somebody hits you like that, like the record shop owner did, and you got to kind of catch your footing and say, yeah, for sure, we gotta we'll give you the box, we'll take the
Right.
cash,
Oh yeah.
It's
so
it's a, it's a little tough though, like only in the sense where, not to cut you off there,
no,
but
no, not at all.
like when it's like, damn, we have a whole other city, like we got 5 days in Hungary, and
Hmm.
do we keep this inventory and try to spread it around, or
Right.
do we satisfy this request? you know.
And
But it
that was
was
going to be my follow-up question is, were you guys able to re-up on some product? Did you order product to get shipped over there, or how did you guys work that?
well, they being that it was like a hardcore vinyl shop, we're like, you know what, we have to say yes to this. Like
Right.
we like we can't. It's like you know, we can't let go of, like, what is that, like the bird in hand for the one that's flying type of
Hmm.
thing. So we took what was in front of our face and said, yeah, we'll give you the whole box, and we still have a couple 7 inches left for merch and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So we're like, you know, it just looks like the next stop is gonna have to order online or whatever they got to do, but
Yeah.
it
And it
feels
always
better to
sounds
have a
good to go
bunch.
to the next shop and say, hey, they took everything, all our inventory. So then that
Exactly.
makes them even want it even more. Oh, we got to get this
Precisely.
because it's jumping off the shelves
Hmm.
in that manner. And again, that's what you do it for somebody to say, hey, we'll take it. We believe in you. We know we're going to move the product. The product moves itself.
Right.
And that's phenomenal. And just the thriving energy that you guys are describing about uh, the record shops is
Oh, it was
really,
great. Yeah, we
yeah,
walked in there. Dude had he had like a grinder out.
Yeah, he was like
But
rolling a spliff up and everything. I was like, oh man, this just feels like home
that
yeah,
type
was
of
home.
just a
Yeah,
homey
Chief,
vibe,
I
you
yeah.
know
know what I'm saying?
you were right there, man, taking it all in,
Oh
brother.
man, it's incredible.
No, Amsterdam is like this guy's like a fish in water when it was Amsterdam. That dude got off the train and was like, "Here we go." Clapped his hands together and was like, "Hey, it's on."
Yeah,
And it
that's
was.
dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. So it's just you two, right? You guys are just doing it mano y mano, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
It was originally, I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, you're familiar with the So Indie format. So
Yeah.
usually we try to roll with 4 or 5, maybe sometimes 6 people. And it was supposed to be a fewer heads kind of a trip, just because it's too hard to manage, you know, an
Right.
international run with 6 artists plus a photographer plus an A&R, but you know, it
Hmm.
starts to get sticky. So the original plan was to have it be 4 artists, but you know, just the nature of things and you know,
Right.
schedule conflicts and whatnot, it ended up just being us going for it. So
No doubt. Kudos to you
yeah,
guys. And you guys got a picturesque view where you set up, man. It's at what time of the day is it over there? It's crazy.
Let's
really,
check.
what, 7 p.m.?
It is 7:04 p.m.
Yeah,
That's
and for you,
almost
it's what?
exactly 8 hours because it's 11 a.m. here, and I'm
There
in
you go.
mountain time,
Oh
Denver,
man.
Sure.
Colorado.
So
So
where? So hello from the future. You
yeah,
know?
exactly, exactly. That's what it is, man. And what is time? It's just
For real,
something. It's just an agreement we make. That way,
dude.
we can connect. It's
Exactly.
night and day, man. That's what it really is. The sun goes up, the sun goes down, man.
That's it.
So
Yeah,
that's
man.
where it's at. Um, so when you guys get back to the States, next project, what's your main thing after, the high of this tour? When the plane hits the pavement, what is your next tour, or what is your next tour, your project? What are you working on? What's the focus?
So basically, we have another project coming out soon, and we're kind of like bringing that with us here as well to try to
Mm,
get it, overseas before the States, create a little like, little hype on that. But we have a record that we made with a bunch of other artists a couple months ago when we went to Florida. So that's kind of flourishing now. Volume 3.
dope.
It's going to be available on Wax. It's going to be, you know, everywhere. So we're just going to try to hit the ground running with that one.
Yeah,
That sounds
there's
dope.
this certain post in there. You might have noticed of us in the record store holding up the records with the owner, and it's
Right,
like you see Wave Mammals album, you know, the Alexander Decatur
right,
EP, then you see So Indie It Hurts Volume 2, and then you see the owner of the shop, who I believe is the owner. Yeah, I keep referring to him as such. I don't know if he technically owns the spot, but the guy that was there running it that we were doing business with, he
right.
holds up, he's holding up Volume 3, and we pixelated that thing so you can't see what it looks like, and it just says coming. You know what I mean?
Dope,
But
dope.
like
You
out
can
here
always
in
do that
Europe,
as like an album cover reveal later, before and
Yeah,
after
exactly,
yeah.
kind of thing. That's ill.
exactly. Yeah,
And I got
so
the Alexander Decatur over here, the record over here, just
Hell yeah.
you
Sweet.
know, vibing
Yeah,
off
but
it.
we're just like, yo, this will be one of those teaser things that like once the single drops, of course, you know, it's kind of cliche, but you can't avoid it. So we're dropping the first single off that on 420. So April 20th, that one drops. And that's when we'll like remove the pixelation on the cover and be like, boom, this is what it looks like. Europe already has it. Fools are buying it in record stores out here.
Nice.
But, you know, just, I don't know, trying something new, trying something different, open up the markets a little bit.
Word up, word up. That sounds dope. So creating on tour, you guys are, I'm sure, on a high. Um, I know your schedules are jam packed. Are you getting that vibe to where you could throw new material down on paper? I don't know if you guys write your rhymes or just
Oh,
they
yeah.
formulate them in your head. But
Oh,
have you found any time for creation thus far?
So basically, before me and Syntax left, we decided that we're gonna try to make a track everywhere we go.
Nice.
So right now, I think we have like 4 so far. We made a couple in Copenhagen. We made one in Amsterdam. We made one here so far. So yeah, we've just been writing, recording, doing the shit.
yeah, man.
Dope,
So this,
dope.
so while we're out here pushing volume 3, which we did on the last tour in Florida, and then what we're creating here, essentially, in theory, of course, would become volume 4 for the future release for the next time we go on the. So like every time we're going on tour, it's like we're bringing the material from the previous one to promote on the current one while we're slowly working on the material for that. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
when it
right.
comes to
Always staying
pushing
one step
vinyl,
ahead of it, but keeping that,
precise,
keeping the ball moving, the
yeah,
keeping the machine oiled. You know what I mean, so to speak.
exactly. And
Yes,
when it
sir.
comes to vinyl, I mean, as I'm sure you know, you have to be working like 6 months ahead of yourself. So
Mm.
like it's not like an MP3. We can't just be like, hey, we
It's
recorded
dropping
this track.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we recorded this track at 9 p.m. and we're gonna drop it at midnight. Fucking the most clicks
Yeah,
wins.
yeah.
Like no, no, no,
I,
no. Like
I
this.
forgot about that component, and it was amazing because I was watching the interview with Al Tariq, fat, formerly known as Fashion from the Beatnuts, and he was
Nice.
saying his kid and my kid as well. I could relate to this. They, he was listening to something and said, "Hey, I really like that song," and his kid said, "Oh, that's old." And he said, "Well, how old is it?" A month. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it
Man,
just goes to show how everything moves fast. But
Bro.
again, with the vinyl aspect, you got to really uh, people love the medium, but to alluding to what you said, you got to have that laser focus to keep the timing intact. And
The discipline in that portion is hard enough as it is. Just to try to keep your mouth shut about something
yep,
that you did for 6 whole months because you want
yeah.
to tell everybody right away.
yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely. You want to always share your creations with the
Especially
people.
too, especially because like the 1 month thing, like the whole streaming era kind of fucked up like just that whole like art of it. So
Hmm.
right.
like now when we're gonna drop the vinyl, it's like the shit's gonna be timeless. There's not gonna be,
Yeah,
oh, it came out 1 month, it came out 2 months. It's like, oh, here it is. It
yeah,
lasts forever.
And in the
yeah.
nature of what you're saying, like, you know, someone referring to something a month ago as being old, it's like, damn, that's borderline insulting.
Yes, yes,
Because I go home and
absolutely.
I still put on like the Mobb Deep Infamous album.
Right.
And what are you talking about? 96, 95, maybe? Somewhere in that range.
I think
Like,
it was
bro,
95. Yeah.
yeah, you're talking about decades ago. So how can you possibly refer to something that came out a month ago as being old? I mean, there's chances are
Yeah,
that
you're
people don't
most
even
times
know
you're in the
that song.
same month. You're talking about the same month. When you
Right.
look at it
Exactly.
from 20 years from now, that's the same period. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
March 2023 was the same period. March 1st, 2023 is the same as March 31st,
Right.
2023.
Yeah.
It's
Same month.
it was the same time.
Yeah. How you saying this is old when it dropped that same month? Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly right. It's crazy. And I've even caught a few times like people doing interviews for projects, let's say, like where they're literally holding the project that they're trying to promote. Like they're on campaign for project XYZ. And then the interviewer will be like, "So what do you have coming up next, or what's new?" And
It's like it's
I
right
almost want to
here.
reach through the screen and be like, "Motherfucker, that is the wrong question. Like, we're here to.
Right,
This is the new thing. What do you mean?
right,
What's next? Like, you shouldn't
right,
be expecting the next thing until like 6 months to a year from now. Like, let this one breathe." But
right.
I don't
And
know.
the analysis of it though too, because focusing on the next one, did you really dive into the current project, listen to the deep cuts, listen to the lyrics?
Right.
Um, I know I learned that when I released the book is, you know, a mistake I made trying to get reviews when people want to read your book 6 months before it is officially released, just
Right.
because they want the reviews beforehand. Well,
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to get reviews after the fact, but I don't see anything wrong with getting reviews after the fact. As long as you get reviews, as long as people are reading the material, willing to share it. In your case, hearing the material and willing to share it. It's all for the good.
Exactly. And art is art. I mean, how old is that Picasso on your wall? Or
For
how old is
real.
that car you're driving? Like, you don't
Right,
refer to your 2022 vehicle as being an old one because it dropped last year. You know
right,
what I mean? You still talk
right,
about that whip like it's new. You're still making payments on that shit. What
right.
do you know? I mean, come
That
on. Think
reminds me
about,
of a poet, Talam Acey. He's got a piece where he says, making payments on food you already ate. You know, how
yeah.
does that?
Yeah.
It's amazing when you realize something like that. But what you're saying hits to the point. Like, yes, it's a quicker, faster economy, especially with artists, but that doesn't mean what you guys are doing, pushing the envelope and keeping it timeless. But I do want to ask you, on the vinyl side, did we come out of that delay kind of pandemic thing? Was there ever that kind of scenario, or has it always been 6 months kind of lead time? And in that, did you guys stayed with the same manufacturer? That way
Yes.
you increase, they know you're good. Every time they get a project for you guys, they know, okay, we got to take care of this project.
Correct. And the answers would go yes and yes. It is
Mm,
still the same. It's still roughly a 6 month lead time, whether it was before or after.
nice.
Um, just because you have to put together the campaign, you have to get the marketing set up, get publicity going, all the ugly stuff, all the, some people aren't interested in seeing how the sausage is made. They just want to bite into it.
Right.
Um,
Great
so like,
analogy.
so they, it's
Or
been the same.
the store bought
Yeah,
streusel,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, the stroopwafel.
Exactly.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, that's
but
it.
we're not selling pre-made stroopwafels. We're pressing and cutting that shit right in front of your face. So it takes a
That's
minute.
it.
Kind
Right.
of like when you want a good coffee, you don't want the coffee that's already sitting up there. You want the barista to grind the beans, do the hot
Yep.
pour over it, give me a
Yep.
fresh cut. So there is a process, and it's always been the same process. And then as far as the manufacturers, we've worked with a couple different ones because by now I believe this volume 3 is going to be like our 8th or 9th vinyl release, as like
Hmm.
strictly speaking on vinyl. And we do have it locked in with a specific manufacturer where we have an account with them, and they know, I mean, as soon as they get an email from us, they know the money's good, they know it's coming, they know the masters are going to be in the format that they need.
Right.
The communicate, like you're saying, the well-oiled machine. Like, now that we
Hmm.
both understand each other, um we could probably, if we really wanted to, shorten that 6 month process down to like maybe 4 months if we really really wanted to. But
Just to keep it safe, you know.
yeah,
But
we
Yeah.
want to keep it safe just in case some problems happen in shipping, or
Yeah.
if
You don't want
something
to
arrives.
overpromise.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
that's right.
For sure.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. I'm picking up the wavelength you guys are on, and it's just inspiring to me. I know going through my first book, I've learned a lot. I'm working on my second book right now and
Nice.
trying to not make the same mistakes that I made with the first book. And a lot of it is lead time. You know what I
Yes,
mean? A lot of it is pre-sales, that whole equation.
that's the
Um,
hardest part.
it is the hardest part, and to not to stifle yourself in the sense of give yourself enough time for pre-sales. I don't think I did that, and I
Okay.
think it's important. Something I want to do next time. But and I know you guys can speak on that as well.
Right.
How long do you guys do for pre-sales?
On this one, we're going for exactly a month. So when the
I
single
like that.
drops on April 20th, that like the single dropping signifies
The open.
pre-sales being open. So here's
Okay.
the new track. Oh, what's that on? Oh, it's on this upcoming joint that comes out next month on the 20th.
Yeah.
Pre-sales are open, that kind of a thing. So we'll see
Totally.
how that
Totally.
goes. The independent game, baby. I mean, this is trial and error. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And you could oil that machine as much as possible. But again, to your point, um, once it's live and it's going to do what it does.
Right.
But
And
talk to me
sometimes
about the
people go,
visuals. You guys got anything lined up for visuals uh, that we might want to know about?
well, it's all original art. I mean, we brought the artist himself with us on this one. He happens to be, a multidisciplinary artist. He's like yourself. He's a writer. He's also a photographer, a designer, a plain old artist, freaking martial artist. Even if you want to go
Oh,
down that,
yeah, yeah. Oh, I
he
gotta see it
doubles as
now.
photography. He doubles as photography and security. You know what I mean?
Nice,
So we're
nice.
out doing a photo shoot in public, and if shit pops off, we're like, hey, put the camera down, put the gloves on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, definitely, definitely,
right.
man. I think everybody in this economy now, everybody has to be multifaceted. You gotta,
Yeah.
write a little bit. Syntax, your emails are flawless, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
your
this man
writing.
is a wordsmith.
I
And that's
appreciate
how
that.
you got to come with to people, especially the people you don't meet at first. You meet them first online. You got to be on point with all that stuff.
Right.
And I think what I was coming to was the visuals, not necessarily the artwork, but the videos, YouTube, that kind
Got
of stuff.
got you.
Well, basically, we shot a lot of shit when we were making the record, like in that time period.
Okay.
So, right now it's kind of like, not a documentary, but it's like a nice little like followed us making the whole thing and like all
Dope.
the extra shit that we've done. So, that'll be coming out as well with the whole rollout. And I'm sure we'll do like a video or two for the project. So
Right.
Word up.
that's a little later, but
And damn, if some of the because there's 6 of us on volume 3, and I mean you're
Okay.
talking to 2 of us. There's still 4 others. I mean, maybe we
For
might be
sure.
fortunate enough to get Mr. Gabriel Patterson to talk to the other 4 at some point. You know what I mean?
We
yeah.
got to, and I'm up for it. I support you guys. We could do the other two or I'm sorry, the other four, or we could
Right?
get a whole group. So
Yeah.
we're about to head out here for a minute. I'm gonna give you guys each one thing, just a shout, whether it's a shout out or something you want us to know before we get out of here.
Cool.
Chiefy, I'll start with you. What you got for us, baby?
Save the roach. That's my that's my only thing.
Yeah, you never know when
That's
times will
all we
call, man.
need, baby. That's well
That's all I
said.
need
I
to say.
appreciate it. I've seen you send that out on Twitter and whatnot. And I think we could go out on that, man.
But also
Syntax,
I
what
want
you
to thank
got?
you too, because you've been greatly appreciated during this whole time period that we've known you. So
Yeah, big supporter,
I
man.
really appreciate that shit for sure.
Hey, no doubt. My pleasure. Same to you guys. Retweeting the articles or whatnot.
Yeah, man.
And I do it because this stuff is dope. People send me stuff, and you know, it's hard to say, hey, I appreciate it, but I don't want to cover it. But that's that,
For sure.
that's what you got to do sometimes, and make a lot of friends that way. But you got to go
Right.
with what you like, and keep doing what you
Right.
guys are doing. I appreciate that. I appreciate
Thank
that,
you.
Chiefy.
Thank you.
No worries.
Syntax, you're on, man. One thing.
I mean, the one thing, do enjoy the ride. I mean, I think a lot of people focus far too much on where they're headed, and by doing that, they're disallowing themselves to enjoy the journey on the way to get there.
Mm,
And and I think like this process right now, like yeah, we're making a record while we're out here, but that's that's us enjoying the process. If
for
if it
sure.
was just if it was just, hey, we're going out to Copenhagen, Amsterdam, and Hungary. And it's like, okay, boom. Once you're in Copenhagen, okay, mission accomplished. And then what? You just brush it off your shoulders and act like it never happened, or close that chapter in your life. Like,
Mm.
you got to take those experiences with you and build on that, and enjoy that process.
Yeah,
And enjoy the
celebrate those victories. Yeah.
Right. Enjoy the fact that you went into the store and they didn't speak English and you had to like pull out Google Translate and be like, yo, how much alcohol is in this beer right here? Or is that malt and barley, or is that non-alcoholic? Like, what you like, you know what I mean? Like, enjoy
Right.
those little things, because when you're at home, you got it easy.
Also,
Word
you
up,
might
word
not
up.
make the destination, bro. That's the thing.
That
That's
too.
it.
So
Right.
Well
That's it.
said. I appreciate the vision and the inspiration. You guys just keep doing it. We'll be here when you come back to the States.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
take it all in. You know, the last time you have there, take it all in. Thank you guys for connecting with me. I know you guys have had a busy tour schedule,
No,
but
thank you, man.
can't wait to hear the new music, man. Please ship it to
yeah,
me when it's hot off the press. I'll
Yes,
do my
sir.
best to keep it a secret and keep it on the down low until it becomes
Yeah.
unpixelated.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
again, hey, Chiefy, Syntax, stay up, man, all the way up.
man.
And we will see you soon. Have a safe trip back to the States.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you,
Much
man.
love.
You got it. Stay up.